Howdy. How you doing? A little bit of a different view than what you're normally used to, right? I'm not gonna do the back of the head thing on this channel, but folks are just gonna have to understand that I'm not the most pleasing looking individual these days. Lack of teeth really sucks on multiple levels. So that's why you didn't see me on camera, as in my face, doing the Watchman News, because I was trying to keep it about the news and not wanting it to dive off into about situations, about things that I have no control over. So, that being said, let's move forward. The reason why I feel like there needs to be another outlet when it comes to preparedness for people to get information is because the rampant lack of thought that there is in the preparedness community. What do I mean by that? Oh my God, you're attacking all the preppers at once. But pretty much, yeah. See, here's the thing. We live in very, very much a monkey see, monkey do world. And, you know, people like easy. People like convenient. And it's very rare to find that person that will actually go the extra mile because they truly want, they're hungry for that information. There's a lot of people that want to know things, but they just want the cliff notes on everything. And in many cases, especially in preparedness, the cliff notes just isn't gonna cut it. So here's the biggest issue that I find with a lot of the preparedness community. Again, the monkey see, monkey do logic. They're just following each other. And the problem with that is if one of them misses something, they all miss it. And there is some very, very big things that they're all missing. One of them is the whole wood gasification for combustion engines thing. And yeah, I hammer down on that for a good reason. You've got people that will make every excuse in the world to not learn. It is the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen. You try to tell people about a technology, and it's hard for me to call it a technology when they used it in World War II. But you try to tell them about a technology, and they will cost you. The last thing that they will do is learn. It's the last damn thing they'll do. They'll go out and buy tens of thousands of dollars worth of gear. But they won't dedicate a weekend to learning about a particular subject unless it's something that the cool guys are into, like guns or, you know, body armor or something like that. They'll spend weekend after weekend after weekend on that stuff. But when it comes down to things that you actually need to know about, not so much. They all got all these ways they're going to overcome this food problem. None of them is going to work, but they all got these ways. Why are you so sure about this, Mike? How can you be so sure about all this? Well, it's common sense. It's common sense. When you go and you look into what it takes, and I use that loaf of bread for a reason, because bread is a staple. When you look into the amount of labor that goes into a single loaf of bread, and I'm not talking about the baking part about it, I'm talking about just the flour even alone, just the flour. When you look at the level of work that goes into that, and understand that there will be nothing to work from. You're going to be working from scratch. It adds a little bit of a different light to things. And I think there's so much normalcy bias in the world today that it's hard for a lot of people to literally strip everything out, everything, down to bare floor and build up. And I think it's really hard for a lot of people to do that. And I think that is an area where normalcy bias really plays a big role. So you get people, and you say I'm picking on people if you want, I don't care. I'm going to be the same, by the way, as I was on the Watchman News, probably even worse, just a heads up, because I don't give a damn what people think. I really don't. I'm trying to help individuals. And individuals that don't want help, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. But I also don't have time for nonsense. I don't have time for liars. I don't have time for people that like to misinform. No time for any of that. Right? I ain't got time for these damn mosquitoes either. But they're not stripping everything down. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, you get people like Bear that says, 40% of our calories on our whatever, half an acre or whatever. Cool story, bro. You're not going to do that after SHTF. Because you're not going to have the support and the supplies coming in. It's that plain and simple. And I think that is where a lot of people misjudge this situation that's upon us, because they somehow think that that stuff is going to magically appear for them. And it's not. People need to understand that just because, for example, somebody's off grid, or just because somebody's got a homestead, even if somebody eats 90% of all their own food, let's say they only got to go to the store for 10% of everything they need, you might think, well, they'll be able to get around that, and probably so. But what they aren't figuring in, because they never do, is the feed that they got at the grain store for their livestock or for their chickens. The hay that they got down the road at the farmer for a couple of bucks a bale. Right? These are important things, supplies that you have to have, things that you have to have. But they're not going to be available from those same places that you've been getting them the entire time. They're no longer going to be available. Why? For the same reason why you're looking for it. Because nobody's got the supplies, nobody's got what they need in order to perform the tasks needed to be able to produce. You will be stripped down to nothing. And that's what I'm trying to explain to people. So that puts us in a really bad spot. And in order for us to be able to come back from that with any efficiency whatsoever, we're going to need some level of technology. And I would say that the combustion engine is not a high level of technology, but we're going to need it. We're damn well going to need it. That I can assure you. And I don't think that these folks are thinking about all that. And then they come up with the most crazy excuses as to why they're going to do without the combustion engine. It's not about that. We don't need a gasifier. We don't need a gasifier. But what they're really telling me is we don't need the combustion engine, because that's what I'm telling them the gasifier about. Oh, we can do this, we can do that. Right on. Right on. You set your own fate. And I'm speaking to the content creators out there and those that support them. You set your fate. Let me say it, let me make it very clear. You set your fate. Yours. Leave everybody else out of it. If you want to go jump off a bridge, if you want to go jump off a cliff, you go do that. But leave everybody else out of it. It's plain and simple. So if you want to learn about preparedness, welcome aboard. You want to learn how to starve to death, there's a million prepper channels to learn that from.
Shalom.